I said we're gonna test and check the classes in Baldur's Gate 3 so I know what to play with once it starts. I don't want to waste time when it starts. Did they add new classes in early access? I do not know. Probably. I see no reason for them not to add new classes. Probably, yeah. In 15 days, Baldur's Gate 3 is out, yeah. So, Baldur's Gate 3. I wanna do a full overview of classes, so I can get ready for the full release. We're gonna speak about every class. We're gonna check all skills, all attributes, backgrounds, everything that exists for Baldur's Gate 3. And once the game is fully out, I'll know exactly what to play from the start. And we can check how the game works now, 2 years later, because I haven't played it since a long time ago. New game. We're gonna go step by step. Who are you? Origin. Male. Custom Astarian not available in early access. Don't even know what is gonna... Probably some story options. There's a custom origin. This Astarian, Lizel, Gale, Shadowheart. Well, probably goes something with the story options and what you can pick. There's a custom origin, and then there's gonna be origin characters. Origin characters would be companions, same like in Divinity Original Sin 2. So that makes it less of Baldur's Gate 3 and more like Divinity Original Sin 3. Background: Acolyte, Charlatan, Criminal, Entertainer, Folk, Guild, Noble, Outlander, Sage, Soldier, Urchin, Acolyte. Insight: proficiency bonus sets to roll made with religion. Proficiency with sleight of hand and deception. This is Charlatan is for, I guess, for a bard, for a rogue. This is for a cleric. But we know there's a cleric companion, so there is no need to play as a cleric. Criminal, deception and stealth. Again, sounds like a rogue. Background: Entertainer. Performance would be bard. Acrobatics. This is for a bard. Entertainer. Folk, hero, animal handling, survival, druid, things like that. Proficiency with insight. Noble, history and persuasion. Outlander, athletics, survival. Sage for the sword and wizard. Arcana and history. Soldier for a fighter. Urchin. I would go with persuasion for the first run, to be honest. Would go with persuasion. A race. There's elves, there's tiefling, there's drow, there's human, Githyanki, dwarf, half-elf, halfling, and gnome. I would definitely pick human for the first run. That's it, the rest what they do. Elves get a cantrip. You can only pick one cantrip as an elf out of all of these. Through strikes you can actually hit. Shocking Grasp that deals shit. Ray of Frost that deals shit damage. Poison Spray. Everything is the same basically here, that they're mostly useless cantrips. True Strike is the best cantrip here that I can see, especially if you decide to play as ranged, so you make sure that you hit. Right now is True Strike as the best one. Illusion for defense. Hand can manipulate and interact with objects. Could be useful, but its utility. Infuse an object with aura of light. We already know that light plays a big role in Baldur's Gate 3, and you're gonna need light, but some of the companions can also do it, so you don't need to take it on the main character. Charisma checks, if you want a charm, yeah. But again, utility. Firebolt, same as Poison Spray, same as Ray of Frost, same as Shocking Grasp. There is no need. Illumination, again, same as Light, only different look. Chill Touch, same as Firebolt, same as other damage cantrips. Resistive, Blunt, Pierce, and Slash, nice. Blade Ward is nice. I'm talking about the hardest difficulty right now, okay? What can you profit out the most on the hardest difficulty? For easier difficulties, you go with damage, you go with Firebolt, you go with Poison, you go with Ray of Frost, you go with Acid Splash. For harder difficulties, you got only 2 options as an elf. First option is a Blade Ward, the second option is a True Strike, and nothing else. Everything else won't work on the hardest difficulty. So let's say if you want to pick an elf, you want to deal damage, is True Strike. If not, then it's a Blade Ward, if you want to think. That's how it is. Bottom line, only these 2 are good. Elves come with keen senses, proficient in perception, long sword, short sword. If you hear something, that's my crazy wife on a rampage in the kitchen doing some shit. Okay, that's the sound that you hear in the background. I hope she's gonna stop soon because she's driving me nuts. You can see dark and saving throws against being charred. You cannot sleep. So, what's an elf? Elf is, you wanna play elf, you can play elf as a rogue, as a wizard, or as some pure ranger. Wanna play a pure elf? Again, it's wizard, ranger, and rogue. Is there a rogue? There's a rogue. Wizard, ranger, rogue. Those would be classes for an elf. I believe all three can profit out of a true strike. Maybe as a wizard you can take something for damage out of cantrips. As a ranger, as a rogue, you play with a true strike. Now, do I see elf as anything else? I do not. No, I do not. Elves can be played as wizard, rogue, and ranger. Bottom line, there's a high elf here and a wood elf. I was speaking about high elf. Let's see the wood elf. With wood elf, you can also play. I would not play as a cleric ever as an elf, but as a druid, yeah. High elf only goes as a wizard. But there is a trick. Wood elves do not have cantrips, while high elves have cantrips. And this is how you lose through strike on a rogue. But I would say for easier difficulties, you wanna play as a rogue, druid, and what did I say? Ranger. You go as a wood elf. If you wanna play as a high elf, you play as a wizard. Now, if you wanna play on the hardest difficulty as an elf rogue with a true strike, this is the only way. Thanks for the follow. This would be the only way to play elf, high elf, rogue with a true strike. So you can actually hit. Even though this sounds better, you will miss on the hardest difficulty. With a true strike from the very start, you're gonna steamroll. You won't miss. Once again, elf, high elf, wizard with some damage dealing cantrip, rogue with true strike. Wood elf is druid, cleric, rogue, and ranger. If you wanna play as a ranged elf, that's all that you can play with as an elf. Now we go to Tiefling. We got Asmodeus and Zariel, Mephistopheles, Asmodeus, Zariel. Okay, what is the difference? Let's start with Asmodeus. They are resistant to fire, they see in the dark, they got speed, they got int, they got charisma. That's Asmodeus. What about Zariel? Again, fire resist, dark vision, strength and charisma. And Mephistopheles is intelligence and charisma. Basically, Asmodeus and Mephistopheles is the same. They just look different, but they come with different cantrips. Cantrips are locked. Are they? Cantrips are locked. Mephistopheles comes with hand, intimidation checks on Asmodeus and Zariel. Zariel profits out of intimidation. Asmodeus doesn't profit out of intimidation. Although they do got charisma. They profit too. We got two versions of. One is a strength version, the other one is a squishy version. Definitely it's Warlock is the main class, no matter which version you pick. Squishy version is for the Warlock. Squishy version is for the Sorc. I'll explain the difference between Warlock and Sorc immediately. It's very simple, it's the same in every CRPG. Warlock, smaller amount of spells, spells hurt more. Sorc, bigger pool of spells, spells hurt less. End of story. You want a board run? Okay, repeating 2, 3, 5 spells in the late game non-stop, you play as a Warlock. You want to play with 20 different spells? You play as a Sorc. That's the main difference between Warlock and a Sorc. Believe it or not, Paladin is a great option for Zariel Tiefling. Believe it or not. Paladin is a phenomenal option. What's more, as Zariel, you can play with a Paladin, even as a Cleric. Paladin would be choice number 1 for Zariel Tiefling, and then it's Cleric. I would say Paladin above Cleric by far, judging by the stats. That's the only option for Zariel. Zariel cannot be played as anything else. You can play them as everything else, but it won't work as well as with a Paladin. As far as Mephistopheles and Asmodeus goes, you can play Tiefling Mephistopheles or Tiefling Asmodeus as a Warlock or as a Sword. And I would say as nothing else. Yeah, definitely as nothing else. You wanna play as a Tiefling, squishy Tiefling, Warlock, Sword, Tiefling that goes with Strength, goes with a Paladin. That's the 3 classes that Tiefling covers, depends on the subclass of a Tiefling. Now, as far as Paladin goes, Paladin comes with 2 different oaths, a Devotion and Ancients. What changes is only action. Devotion, Vengeful Aura with radiant damage to anyone that hits them with a melee. Oath to let nature heal all nearby else. I will always opt in for heal, especially on a harder difficulty. Okay, you're gonna play on easier difficulties? Yes, you can go with Holy Rebuke and deal more damage on easier difficulties. It works as retaliation. You get hit, enemies take radiant damage. Okay, you downed and you get hit. For the harder difficulties, it's Ancients. For the easier difficulties, it's Devotion. But definitely heal is far better. Now, one more thing that also is gonna work on Tieflings, the last thing that's gonna work on Tieflings is Bard. Because Bard scales like crazy of Charisma, and it only works on 2 races of Tieflings. It works on Mephistopheles and Asmodeus. And I would say on Mephistopheles is not better performance checks, performance on Bard as Asmodeus Tiefling. And that's also a class that you can play with. So, Squishy Tiefling, Asmodeus, and Mephistopheles. Warlock, Sorc, Bard. Zariel Tiefling, Paladin, or Cleric. Paladin is the best option. Now let's check the Bard. You can pick a starting instrument with a Bard. It's Bard with a loot, of course. Inspire an ally to go beyond their capabilities with your performance. Bardic Inspiration, bonus action. For really get bonus action, I would say that Tiefling Bard should be played with a crossbow. And with nothing else, only with a crossbow. Light armor and a crossbow. Now Bard comes with its own cantrips. The first cantrip is Mockery. Insult a creature and put disadvantage on its attack roll. Sounds nice. Resistance is great with a Blade Bard. Mage Hand is not needed. There is a True Strike. But you won't deal damage as a Bard, so you won't need True Strike on a Bard. Charm a creature, Illumination, and Illusions. I would say Flat is the best. Mockery and Blade Bard. By far. Because again, there will be companions that can illuminate areas. Okay? You will have companions with Illumination. If you play safe, you don't need Illusion, because you need to play safe as a Bard, you're there to support. And you won't deal damage, so you don't need True Strike. Now, as far as spells go, for a Bard, Charm a Beast, target 3 creatures, they receive penalty to attack rolls and saving throws. Quite interesting, I would say yes. Charm a Humanoid. Healing, if there's no one else to heal, then yes, you need Cure Wounds. Change aspect of your appearance. Frighten creature and deal damage. On a save, target will still take half damage. Sounds nice. Turn targets visible. Those that are invisible, you turn them visible. And you have advantage when you attack them. Works on dexterity save. Immune to fall. Heal a creature you can see. Touch a creature to heal. A lower healing, heal from afar. Better healing, you need to be close to your ally. If you know how to play, you'll go with bigger healing and get close to your allies. If you don't know how to play, if you're gonna play on easier difficulties, you go with a healing word on easier difficulties. On the harder difficulty, you opt in for a bigger healing, but you need to stick with your allies, especially those that are gonna receive damage. So that's the main difference between those two heals. This target cannot be frightened. That's, I guess, later in the game. You won't get frightened in Act 1. Even though heroism sounds great, you would not get frightened in Act 1, even on the hardest difficulty. 5 temporary hit points each turn is also nice. But I would not take it. I would take it later on, not as a starting option. Heroism. Hideous Laughter, make enemies prone. Classic. Maybe you should as a Bard. I mean, it fits the Bard to have a Hideous Laughter. Increase movement speed of a creature, also very nice. Put enemies to sleep is very nice. Speak with animals. Probably it's gonna be mega important. Knowing Larian, communicate with beasts. And at the end there's a Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave, I tested it out when the game came out. It's fucking great. You can push enemies off cliffs with Thunder Wave. So how things go now? We got 4 spots and we got like 6 or 7 great skills for the bard. I would say you have to have a Thunder Wave. You just get close and push enemies, kill them easily, okay? You have to have a Thunder Wave. I would say you gotta have this speak with animals, because no one else can do it, and there's a lot of animals in the Larian games and they usually provide good stuff. Great rewards. So we got utility, we got damage and crowd control with this too. That means we cannot play with sleep. Every bard I said can profit out of hideous laughter. Now on the hardest difficulty, I guess you won't be as successful on easier difficulties, okay? So I would avoid hideous laughter on the hardest difficulty, but I will definitely take hideous laughter for easier difficulties. We need 1 heal. Easier difficulty goes with a healing word, harder difficulty goes with cure wounds. And now we pick the final spell. The final spell is either AoE buff or AoE debuff. I would opt in for AoE debuff. Remove attack rolls and saving throws from 3 targets, from 3 enemies. It's way too fucking good. Okay, because it's 3 enemies. This is how I would do Bard as a squishy tiefling for the start. Skills, we can talk about skills later on. They could also change this for the full release. And basically, skills are there for skill checks. You need to know your companions well. You check what each companion provides and you take what no one has. So much from the skill checks. Very simple. As a bard, of course, you need something to charm, to persuade. Very simple. Performance, and so on. It's not complicated, really. It depends also what background you take, so you get this persuasion and history with performance, and bard is ready, by the way. You don't need to switch, I think it's ready. Perhaps animal handling, perhaps. Because you can now speak with animals and it would be great to have animal handling. That's about it. Now the abilities for a squishy bard. I'm talking the bard that can be played, tiefling, squishy tiefling. I'm talking about tiefling can be played as a bard, warlock, or a sorc. You sacrifice constitution, you get 15 ready to be 16 plus 3, you get 17 ready to be 18 plus 4 on a level. And now 2 points are left, that will be the start. For the squishy, complete opposite for the tanky tiefling that can be played as a paladin. I think they're great, by the way. They're already Zariel. Zariel is already ready as a paladin. You don't need to pick a thing that you just basically play. Let me see the abilities on. Strength, charisma, con dex. Exactly like it is. This one is ready. Although I would place 17 somewhere. 13 ready for 14 plus 2. So it's dex and con upgrade. Dex to raise armor class for a paladin. Constitution to raise health and endurance. Strength, charisma remain on 16 and you play as a tiefling paladin. Zariel tiefling paladin. Now, as far as the rest of them go, we said that we can play. We check the bard, we check the paladin, we can play as a cleric. Cleric for some other class now, because I believe paladin is better than a cleric. We can check a sorc tiefling. The recommended attributes are really good. Really good. I would not agree with Constitution though. I would heavily disagree with Constitution. I would put it on 10 easily. And I would ramp up Dex on 15. Get ready for 16 so you can actually hit. I would disagree with Intelligence also. There is no points to place right now basically. 13. 1 is left. So on a level up, Charisma, 18 plus 4. Next level, Dex, 16 plus 3. Next level, Constitution, 14 plus 2. When it allows plus 1 on ability points. And you play. Now, as far as skills go, on a sorc, we got Wild Magic, we got Draconic Bloodline, and that's about it for now. I believe there's gonna be more, but even if it's not, it's fine, I guess. Check the cantrips. Blade Ward for defense, gain True Strike, gain Illusion, and a classic Firebolt. Cantrips are not that important. Better to have utility cantrips than actual damage cantrips, because you're gonna get your damage through spells. Thunder, damage sphere, acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. Creates a surface. A cloud of dense fog heavily obscures and blinds creatures within. Charm, sleep. You need to be close for burning hands. You can ignite anything flammable. Magic missiles, nothing to think about. Nothing to think about. Now, if you're gonna have someone with a thunder, you don't take thunder wave. If you won't have anyone, if it's only gonna be you with a thunder wave, then you need to take it. Again, you push opponents off the cliffs. You position well, you resolve the fight. Witch Bolt is absolutely crazy, I love it. Color Spray, not effective. This is how I would do it, but truth to be told, this should be the way. Magic missiles into Witch Bolt, because Witch Bolt is just crazy good, especially against specific enemies in the game. So this way you got cantrip fire, you got spells lightning, you got spells force with magic missiles. Magic missiles never miss. And this is how I go with the Sork. Now that's a wild magic Sork. Pure damage dealing Sork. Yes, this is a pure magic damage dealing Sork. Draconic, you can pick whether you wanna be fire, acid, lightning, cold, so you gotta pick from the start what you wanna be. These are cosmetics with scales. Then you can pick dragon colors, hit points increased. Not wearing armor provides you with armor class, because you're a dragon. This is exactly the same spells as the previous Sork. Yeah, exactly the same spells. So what's the difference? You're gonna pick fire, you will go with firebolt, and you're gonna go with... Where is it? Where are the burning hands now? Was it here? Acid can pick burning hands, but fire doesn't have burning hands. Why? At level 6, fire damage is more powerful, you can become resistant to fire. Yeah, it's very simple. When you decide to play with a Draconic, what you pick is what you learn. You pick lightning, you learn lightning spells. You pick acid, you learn acid spells. You pick fire, you learn fire spells. Not much more to say about it. Again, recommended abilities are kinda good. I would just switch the excess amount of Constitution. Place how I said, 15. So it can be 16 plus 3, they can actually hit enemies with spells. Skills heavily depend on your companions. And the last one that's left is a Warlock, as far as Tiefling goes. Now Warlock can be the Fiend, or the Great Old One. The Fiend has a Dark One's Blessing. When you kill an enemy, you get 4 temporary hit points, that's whatever. When you land a crit, all other nearby enemies are frightened until the end of their destiny. The Great Old One sounds 10 times better than the Fiend. I really... the Fiend is good on easier difficulties, but this Warlock is just better for the hardest difficulty. Let's see what Warlock possess out of cantrips. As I said, the main difference between Warlock and a Sork. Sork, huge pool of spells and good pool of spells to cast. Warlock, smaller pool of spells to pick from. Even smaller pool of spells that you can actually cast. But he hurts more than a Sork. Cantrips for a Warlock. It's definitely Eldritch Blast, because it's only available to Warlock. And it's definitely a True Strike. Nothing else. I've seen the rest, nothing else. These two. Spells on a Warlock. Armor of Agathis. You deal 5 cold damage to any creature that hits you with a melee. Arms of Hadar. Necrotic damage. It prevents enemies from taking reactions. Charm, Dissonant Whisper. You can frighten a creature. Deal psychic damage. 3d6. Hellish Rebuke. 2d10, man. This is 2d10. Next time you take damage, you use your reaction to surround your attacker in hellish flames. You need to get hit though. That's why it deals so much. Curse a creature. Make him in disadvantage. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Evil and Good Protection. You protect allies against aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. And a classic Witch Bolt. The main damage output is gonna be the cantrip Eldritch Blast at the start. Now, I would say Arms of Hadar and Hex. So the combo would be Hex, Hadar, Blast. That's one way to play Warlock. There is the other way also. If you dislike Acid, you can opt in for a Witch Bolt instead of Acid. Everything else requires A lot of strategizing. You need to get hit. You don't want to get hit because you're very squishy. For most of the spells, you need to get hit. Again, if you really want to get hit, you're gonna play a tankier Warlock. Then it's very simple. It's Rebuke. Because it's insane. It's 2d10. It's just insane. But you need to get whacked. I would play Warlock like this. And I would definitely stick with the Great Old One. If you gonna play as Warlock that doesn't get hit like the build I gave, you do not need this Constitution as recommended. If you're gonna play with those flames 2d10 instead of Arms of Hadar, then you ramp up Constitution. So you need to decide as Warlock what you wanna play and how you wanna play. You wanna go in and get hit, or you don't. I would never play Warlock to get hit, because later on Warlocks unlock great spells from afar. Even though now it sounds weak, it won't be later on. You need to hold on for 5-6 levels, then you're gonna see the true strength of Warlock. So I would remove Constitution, I would put those points into Dex 15 plus 2 on a next level 16 plus 3, and you can actually hit with your Eldritch Blast, with Hadar, and with other damage dealing spells. The intelligence is also way too high. You don't need that much. Maybe you can transfer it like this. 13 plus 1. So on the first level, you go with Dex so you can hit. On the next level, you go Charisma 18 plus 4. And then you go with Constitution 14 plus 2. So it's gonna be 18, 16, 14. And it's done. Now that would be Tiefling. We did Elf, we did Tiefling. Drow. They start with lights. Dark Vision, their face, Rapier and Short Sword, Charisma, Dex. These are rogues. Seldarin Drow, Lolot Sworn. What's the difference? There is no difference. There's basically no difference. They just look slightly different, but there is no difference as far as features go. Keen senses are there. Dex, Charisma, Rapier, Short Sword, Hand, Crossbow, Superior Dark Vision, their face, they're both got speed. There is no difference. At least not in this version of the game. There could be difference on a full release. So Drows are definitely rogues. Now do I see them as something else? I see them as rangers as well, not only as rogues. And I just don't see them as anything else. Again, I need to check the race. They got charisma, okay, but I believe there are classes that can do it better than them. What I said for bards, same build applies for drows. What I said for sorks, same build applies for drows. And what I said for warlocks, same build applies for drows. No matter if it's Seldarin drow or a lot sworn drow. So absolutely the same applies. I just believe tieflings are better. Way much better. If you want to play warlock, if you want to play sork, you will play as a tiefling. You won't play as a drow, man. Very simple. Even you're gonna play it as an elf. Tieflings are just better warlocks, sorks than drows are. Drows, I really believe they're best as ranger and rogue. Now let's check the rogue. Drow, rogue. They come with a sneak attack, with a weapon damage, sneaking. They can illuminate with dancing lights. Nothing, it's just push and play. But pick a drow, pick a rogue. The only thing that's worth noticing here is abilities. They're not even good as rangers, okay? They scale out of charisma. So I would not pick them as rangers as well. I can only pick them as rogues. Nothing else but a rogue, because they go with charisma and you need wisdom as a ranger. Spellcasting, clerics, druids, rangers. So as a rogue, you can easily remove wisdom. You can remove int. You can remove even that stupid charisma. You can opt in for constitution. And what's the excess? Until 3, maybe even strength, so they don't be as squishy like that instead of a wisdom. Wisdom provides perception, alright. You need perception on a rogue when I better think about it. They're not good, okay? Drows are not good. That's what I can say. Out of all races that I've seen so far, drows are just flat garbage. They do nothing well as other races. Yeah, we need perception. So, you wanna play as a drow, you can only play as a rogue. I would not even recommend ranger. You can do exactly the same build as a ranger. We're gonna check out ranger now, but I would not recommend. There's better classes, better races. On a level, you got dex, you got wisdom, you got constitution, and you got yourself a rogue. Simple as that. I believe it's mega boring though. As far as other Drow goes, they're exactly the freaking same. They just look different. They even come with same cantrips. This could be changed by the full release, because it's a problem that they're the same fucking thing. Now, as a ranger, if you wanna play Drow as a ranger, on a level, you go with Dex, you go with Constitution, you go with Strength, and that's it. They're 14 plus 2, 18 plus 4, 14 plus 2, and you're good to go. Now, as far as this goes, you can pick a favored enemy. You can gain proficiency in religion as a ranger, deal radiant damage to druids. You're gonna cast with wisdom all of your cantrips. History, armor proficiency with heavy armor. This is a tanky ranger. Drows are not good tanky rangers. You need someone that scales up with strength if you wanna pick a ranger knight. This is not a race. Gain proficiency in Arcana and a True Strike. A ranger with a True Strike. You just way too fucking good. Protection from evil and good here. Solid. Keeper of the Veil. Disadvantage on enemies and saving throws. True Strike. There's nothing to think about. No matter how everything else sounds to you, it's True Strike. You wanna play on the hardest difficulty, it's True Strike. It's a mage break. No matter what race you pick for the ranger, it's a mage break. Yes, Bounty Hunter is solid, disadvantages in saving throws, even Keeper of the Veil is good. Ranger Knight, if you play as a Strength Ranger, then you take it. But most of the Rangers will be Dex Rangers, Dexterity Rangers. Sanctified Stalker is a Cleric Ranger, something like that. You can call him something like that. The best way to play a Ranger is with a Mage Breaker. Nothing can exchange for a True Strike, especially not on the hardest difficulty. It's the most important skill that you can grab, and you get it for free when you pick Mage Breaker. Now, you receive True Strike when you pick, you receive a Familiar, you are proficient with light and medium armor, with simple and martial weapons, with strength and dexterity saving throws. And the only thing that's left is Natural Explorer for a ranger. Bond with animals, you can cast Find Familiar, Sleight of Hand, you can steal, gain resistance to cold, gain to fire, and to poison. Probably Beast Tamer, okay? It's not like I'm a fan out of this 5. Be far away as a ranger. You don't need fire, cold, and poison resist. That counts if you play as the ranger knight. But you need to know the game. In order to know the game, you need to finish the game and then like calculate how many enemies deal fire in the game, how many deal poison, how many deal cold. And then judging by that, you're gonna pick. If most of the enemies in the game will deal fire, you can go with fire, ranger knight, strength, build, ranger. And that's the comp. Okay, but for the first run, since we don't know what we're gonna deal with, it's Mage Breaker, Beast Tamer, Dexterity, Ranger, with attributes like I said, 18 plus 4 on a level, 14 plus 2, 14 plus 2, and you're good to go. That would be the Drows. To me personally, only good as Rangers and as Rogues. You can also play fuckers as Bards, Sorcs, and Warlocks, like the build I gave for Tieflings. Exactly the same builds, and that's about it. Rangers can actually be played in a lot of different ways. Melee, ranged, tanks, but the most important thing to have is a True Strike, no matter the difficulty. Human can be played as anything. We're gonna leave it for the last. Because literally we can pass through all classes, like what I gave so far, everything counts for human, okay? Simple as that. You can play humans as absolutely every single class in the game. Now Githyanki. Int and Strength. Something like a Battle Mage. Strength Wizards. Tanky Wizards. Or Flat Barbarians. I see them as light medium armor, great sword, fighter, barbarian, battle mage, wizard, barb, wizard, fighter, comp. Githyankis. So let's see what barbarian offers for Githyanki. Again, I need to check this medium strength, light, and racial speed on armor defense. This is not wearing armor barbarian, so you're not allowed to wear armor as a barbarian. You go into a classic rage as in every other CRPG. Kinda boring to play. Okay, that's about it with barbarian. That's nothing. As far as skill goes, that depends what you need out of your companions, okay? Who gets what? You need to change background for intimidation as a barbarian. You want to intimidate. Now, as the barbarian, I would go like this. I would sacrifice wisdom. On a first level, you gain dex, so you raise armor. You can actually hit opponents. 14 plus 2, next level 18 plus 4 strength, next level 16 plus 3 constitution, and you're good to go. There's nothing to say about barbarian, man, that it's just very simplistic. As a fighter, Githyanki, you can play as sword and board, with a great sword, with a long sword, with axes, with medium, with heavy armor. It comes with a second wind. Second wind is absolutely great, by the way, for the fighter. And Githyankis come with cantrips with a mage hand, so you can grab stuff from afar. Now, what's with a fighter? What they did? You can be an archery fighter, which I would not recommend as Githyanki. Never. Ever. There's a defense Githyanki, bonus to armor class. Good one on a fighter. Dueling Githyanki. This is classic Warlock style. Rapier and empty hand. So no. Classic two-handed. Great weapon. Sword and board. Shield. Reactions. Execute protection. And dual wielding. Considering you're a brute as Githyanki and with a fighter, you wanna be a tank, you play with protection. You wanna hurt, you play with great weapon fighting. You wanna be a tank that downs with armor class, you're gonna play as defense. I would never pick archery, dueling, and two-weapon fighting on Githyanki. So this doesn't exist on Githyanki, basically. What I said is works. Defense, great weapon, and protection. Depends what style you wanna pick. I would say for most fun, great weapon, protection if you want utility, defense if you want to tank. That's about it. Abilities, what only changes? You want to tank, it's 15, 17. You don't want to tank, it's 17, 15, and that's it. That's the entire difference. Now, Githyanki can also be played as a wizard. I gave the build for a wizard, so there is no need to go to the wizard again. This is like a battle mage wizard. Okay, with Githyanki, you can opt in for some melee skills as a wizard instead of a ranged, like a true strike, a shocking grasp, something that need to be close, because you're gonna be tankier as Githyanki when playing a wizard. That's the entire difference. Chill touch and a blade ward for resists, like this with cantrips. As far as spells go on Githyanki as a wizard, there's Burning Hands. There's the dash, allowing you to move at incredible pace. There's Expeditious Retreat. There's a False Life. There's Grease. And we need some damage now. But it's classic magic missiles. There is protection from evil and good for the last boss. Tanky, Githyanki, Battle Mage. That's how you can call it. Okay, with full supportive skills, only 1 damage. For damage. And with the abilities, we remove that, we leave. You need Constitution, it's gonna be 15. Dex, so you can hit. And on a level, 17. Oops, 16. Well. On a level, 16 plus 3, 16 plus 3, 14 plus 2, and that's it. For Githyanki. But I would never play Wizard as Githyanki. It can be done though. Dwarves. Constitution. There's a Gold Dwarf. Shield Dwarf. The build that I gave for Ranger Knight applies to Gold Dwarf. Exactly the same build that I gave for Ranger Knight. And we need to check Cleric and Druid now. As far as Shield Dwarf goes, classic fight. Can be a Paladin too. I gave a build for a fighter, I gave a build for a Paladin. Just copy paste, but nothing special there. Basically, instead of a sworder board, it's hammer and board. Warhammer and board. For the Shield Dwarf. Paladin, fighter, that's it. Now for the Gold Dwarf, we can play him as Cleric and Druid. Let's check Cleric and Druid. Cleric, there's a Cleric companion, but we can check Cleric still. But you should never play as Cleric, because you got Cleric companion in a game. Clerics come with a life domain, light domain, trickery domain. Only that, hey, you know what's Wrath of the Righteous Clerics for this? This is a joke. Complete joke, man. In Wrath of the Righteous, you got 60 domains. Look at this. A joke. Well, step by step. Let's start with a life domain Cleric. Deity, Saloon, Lathander, Elistrale, Mialeki, and so on. What changed with Deity? What changes with Deity? There's a lot of deities. Nothing changes. Okay, let's check cantrips for the live domain. Guidance, ability checks, infuse a light, bolster defense, let radiant damage. Great cantrip, by the way, Sacred Flame, intimidation and performance, no need. From cantrips, you go with them, these three. Resistance, guidance, Sacred Flame. Now from prepared spells, you can only have one as a cleric. Bane sounds like the best option. Don't even need to look at the other. We're gonna check, but it sounds like the best option. You just remove attack rolls out of enemies and saving throws. And now create Destroy Water. Guiding Bolt on a next level. You should learn Guiding Bolt. It's absolutely crazy good. It's 46. It's just crazy good. And healing. Now wounds, protection from evil and good, and the Shield of Fate, armor class by 2. What's great? On a level, it's Guiding Bolt, healing, Shield of Fate, and protection from evil and good. But I would start with Bane. You inflict penalty on attack rolls on enemies, you can get hit. I would start off with Bane. You know Bless, and you know Cure Wounds. With Live Domain, with Trickery Domain, you got Blessing of a Trickster, Stealth checks, Disguise, and Charm. We keep the same cantrips. We keep the same spells, and as I said, how you learn them in order. The only thing that matters are this passive that change. So, Trickery Domain is the same as for Live Domain, and the Light Domain, we get Burning Hands, Fury Fire, and Light. Everything else can easily remain the same. So basically, everything remains the same with leveling, with skills that you pick. The only thing that switches here are free spells that you're gonna get, depends on the domain. Now what's the best? This is a light domain, is a damage dealing cleric. Live domain is a full support, bless, bane, heal cleric. And Trickery Domain, I would never recommend Trickery Domain to anyone. It's utility, but I would never recommend Trickery. Deities, I guess they're gonna mean in conversations. Who you worship. Helm, Mikul, Bane, Tyr, Tempus, Shar, Selûne, Laytender, Timora, Lolt, Yondala. There's like 1 million deities, okay? I just believe they're gonna be available during conversations. It doesn't change anything for the build. Now what's the abilities for Cleric? Cleric needs a high wisdom. Tanky Cleric. If you wanna go into fights, you're gonna need Constitution. You wanna remain behind, okay? And support, you can easily ditch Constitution on a Cleric. At all, maybe like this. Preparing for Dex so he can actually hit from afar with Radiant spells. Because clerics can also deal damage with Radiant, and you can carry a bit more. So on a level, how it's gonna be, very simple. First level Dex, second level Strength, 16 plus 3, 12 plus 1. But even then you don't need it. If you're gonna be ranged, you can go like this. Okay, so you're gonna be 14 plus 2, 16 plus 3. Ranged Cleric. If you wanna play as a melee Cleric, then you're gonna need some Strength. So you're gonna need to sacrifice Dex, Con, and put it like this. That's everything there is about clerics. Druid. Hate druids in every game. In absolutely every game. Doesn't matter if it's CRPG or an action RPG, I hate druids. But let's see what it is. Druids. Proficient with absolutely everything. 1 million spells. Let's check cantrips for druids. Guidance is great for ability checks. Poison damage. Produce flame. Bolster saving throws. Imbue the staff with blunt. If you're gonna play as melee, then yeah, you go with this. Thorny, whiny like whip. Pull it 3 meters closer to you. 1d6 pierce. Cannot pull huge size. Nah, I will go with classic poison and guidance. Even these two sound fun. You need to create a melee druid build. If you wanna play with this two. We can do it, but let's see this for now. For ranged. Spells. On a druid, anything new. Charm animal. Charm human. Destroy water, heal wounds, touch. Now entangle is a must on a druid. Turn targets visible, attack rolls have advantage against them. Blind creatures, good berry. 4 magical berries for yourself or a companion. Those who eat a berry regain 1d4 hit points. I would go with berries, because it's available, instead of a classic heal. Now on a level you need speak with animals and you need animal friendship as a druid, because it is what druid is. Speaking with animals. Now you can sacrifice, maybe you don't need entangle from the start, you can go speak with animals. Like this. This is combat based, this is conversation. Depends what you're gonna play on. You're gonna play on easier difficulties, you can easily play like this. You're gonna go on a harder difficulties, you play like this. That's the difference. What's left? Animal handling for a druid. You need a different background on a druid. Something that's gonna give nature and so on. So that you can pick something else, like survival. And you pick animal here. In the background, inherited skills. Now, druid profits out of wisdom. A ranged druid needs high dex. Melee druid needs high strength. This is good enough for a ranged. On a level you grab constitution, you're good to go. I like it. You don't even need to change anything. But for the melee version, this is the melee version of druid. Now we're gonna pick spells for the melee version. How you level up. Constitution first level, 16 plus 3. Strength second level, 14 plus 2. Dex third level, when it's available. It can be on level 6, level 7, it doesn't matter. When it's available, 14 plus 2. And this is a melee druid, but melee druid needs different skills. Melee druid goes with enhance your staff to deal damage, and it goes with a thorn whip to pull enemies closer to you, and this is how you play a melee druid. As far as this go, you need a thunder wave on a melee, so you pull enemies with a cantrip, then you push them off the cliff. Good berries again, make enemies visible, hurt them more. Now it's literally whatever, you can pick animals if you want to, if not you can pick extra healing, if not you can pick blind or entangle. Or even better, you can get long striders, so you can cover more ground, reach the enemy to whack them with your cantrip. Blunt damage, it's if you wanna play melee druid dwarf with a staff. And that's a gold dwarf. Did we cover it all? Clerics covered, druid covered, ranger covered. Ranger build, ranger build druid. Ranger build dwarf. Gold dwarf ranger. Gold dwarf ranger. What can you be? You come with wisdom. Easily can be played as ranger knight. Then you play him as a tanky ranger. This dwarf has high constitution, gives wisdom that ranger requires, and you can play him as a ranger knight build. And you can get protection against some element. For example, against fire. Maybe even tanky. Now, as far as skills go, that depends on your companions, depends on the background. Recommended is not good at all. On a level, you gain strength. That's the first one, then you gain wisdom, then you gain dex, then you gain constitution for the attributes. And you can play as a knight, ranger knight. If you pick a background with high religion, you can play as sanctified stalker as well, easily, because it's wisdom based. So you wanna play as a sanctified stalker, ranger knight, then gold dwarf is the class that you should pick. You just need to switch the background to be with religion, acolyte. And then you pick a gold dwarf, and then you pick a sanctified stalker, and then in abilities you do dex build on a sanctified stalker, and you can dual wield weapons as a ranger. That's how you can play sanctified stalker. As far as shield dwarf goes, build that I gave for a fighter, for a paladin, can be played here. As far as gold dwarf, cleric build that I gave for cleric can be also applied on a dwarf. What remains? Half elf, they start with cantrips, mix of humans and elves. You can pick what you want. Basically they sound like humans, you can play them as all. Yeah, you can easily play them as all high elves. As every single class in a game. Absolutely as every class. Adaptable like humans. What's the main difference? Humans gain +1 to all. Half elves, you get to pick where you wanna place +1. But they got charisma from the start +2. While humans get all stats +1. Strength, dex, con, int, wisdom. Half elves, they gain 2 points to place on your own, but you gain charisma 2 points. So basically, you can play them as all, but they're the strongest as bards, sorcs, and warlocks. I gave builds for bards, I gave builds for sorcs, I gave builds for warlocks. They're ideal, to be honest. Half-elves and tieflings are ideal choices for bards, sorcs, and warlocks, by far. And what's also very good, is that you can get that extra dex along with charisma, along with constitution when you decide to play as a warlock. You can even play as a melee warlock with a half-elf. Now there is high half-elf, and there is a drow half-elf, and there is a wood half-elf. What is the difference? Drow is a great rogue. I gave a build for a rogue. Wood, speed, stealth. Wood is a great ranger and a great rogue. High half-elf is a great bard, warlock, and what was it? A sorc and a sorc. End of story. No need to pass through the builds. We already passed through all builds. Yeah, halflings. Would never in my life play as a halfling or a gnome. I don't even get how people can play as a halflings or gnomes, but we can pass and see what they are. I got 60 hours in Baldur's Gate Early Access, and I kinda seen it all. I would not like to ruin the game, okay? We're just sitting here talking about classes for a reason. I don't wanna ruin the game for myself, as well as I don't want to ruin the game for anyone that's about to play. So when I release this video on my YouTube channel, it's gonna be completely spoiler free. What I do right now, I'm trying to figure out what I'll play on day 1. Okay, so when I enter the game, we don't spend 2 or 3 hours in character creation screen. I know exactly what I want. It takes 1 minute and the game starts. Okay, this time I'll be ready. I don't want to waste time. Let me see the chat and we continue with... There's halfling and gnome left. There is a monk coming up, yeah. But I would not play a monk on the first run. Maybe on second, third run I can test out a monk. I think I already know what I'm gonna play. 90% sure of what I'm gonna play. Which class I'll play first. At the end of the video you're gonna see what I'll play. I'll build something up. And that's what it's gonna be on a full release. Believe it or not, speaking about bards, I believe that bards will be mega fun to play with. Okay, they won't be like bards in other CRPGs. This is gonna be hilarious to play with. I'm dead serious. They're gonna have a lot of great skills. And a lot of weird skills that you won't find in many other CRPGs. So bards will be like maybe even top 3 builds, main highlights of the game, the funniest class that you can play with. That's how it looks like to me, so far. I never finished System Shock Cream. Yeah, because I need to sit like this, and I need to play. And I can't sit like this more than 15 minutes, I need to lay down. Okay, because it's 40 degrees. I cannot play anything, I can only use one hand and put my legs up on the desk. That's the only way how I don't get cooked, basically. I'm sitting in a chair and boiling, man. And you pray to God that it's gonna be some normal temperature when Baldur's Gate 3 is out so I can actually play for 10 hours a day. I pray to God it's gonna be at least 30. And not above that. Too many subclasses in the game. Come on, let's be fucking real, it's a joke compared to Breath. Joke, it's not even 1% out of the Breath of the Righteous. In a week, once I'm done with the game, in a week I'll give you like 50 builds in a row with Baldur's Gate 3. Easily. There's nothing to think about. My plan for the party camp, I need to see all companions. Frankly, I don't know. Companions that are most fun to play with, I guess. Will I make the same amount of content for Baldur's Gate 3? So, yeah, exactly the same amount of content because they're the same game. This is like Divinity Original Sin 3. So you can expect the same amount of content. Everything that I did for Divinity will be for Baldur's Gate 3, only with bigger quality, better audio, better video, more cuts and edits, cause I'm doing better job right now, okay, after 7 years. So it's gonna be way much better than Divinity. Now, where were we? Halflings. Lucky Dex Charisma. Rogues and bards. I would not play them as orcs and warlocks. Rogues and bards, that's what halflings are. A lightfoot halfling. Strongheart halfling is interesting. And what could you be, man, with constitution? Save, you can be a bard, but what else? You can be a nimble two-weapon fighting fighter. So if you wanna play two-weapon fighter, you're gonna go with a Strongheart halfling. Save throws against poison, speed, constitution, brave, and lucky. I see this class as a two-weapon fighting fighter. This race. Strongheart. And as a rogue. And as a ranger. As a ranger knight. Yeah. Again, Strongheart halfling. Ranger knight, fighter, two-weapon fighter. Lightfoot halfling is a bard. I already gave a build for a bard. That's about it. There's nothing to show, nothing to pick. The build that I gave will work extremely well. For the fighter, you need high strength and high constitution. For the bard, you need, I think it was charisma. You need high charisma and high dex. For rogue, you need high dex and high constitution. That's about it. And the last one would be gnome. Gnome is intelligence wizard. And there is a forest gnome, and there is a rock gnome, and there's a deep gnome. Now, deep gnome can be a rogue. Rock gnome can be, where is that fighter? Not fighter, what were you, goddammit? Ranger, keeper of the whale. That goes with a rock gnome. I'm just taking what merges best, okay, with a specific race, sub-race. But basically, gnomes are wizards. They're definitely wizards. Best class that you can pick on a gnome is a wizard. By far. Nothing better. And we passed through a wizard, I forgot. I think we never passed through a wizard. So for a wizard, the best starting option on the hardest difficulty, you wanna stay far away from the fights. As far away as you can, especially with a gnome. I would go with illusion for defense. Utility defense. I would go with fire and I would go with cold. As far as cantrips go on a gnome wizard. This is a forest gnome. I said what I think about the rest and how they can be played. Not as a wizard. Only forest as a wizard. Spells. No brain magic missile on absolutely every wizard. Protection, evil and good for some utility defense. Sleep is nice to have, one crowd control. Thunder waves, you can push enemies off cliffs or when they get close enough to you. Witch bolt for lightning damage also. And I will go with even further crowd control with the grease. For the hardest difficulty, if you don't play with hardest difficulty, you don't need grease. And you don't need sleep, you can add damage dealing spells like Burning Hands, like, where was it? Color Spray, like, I don't know, Poison, Ray of Sickness, on easier difficulties. You do not need crowd control. But for the hardest difficulty, you're gonna need grease, you're gonna need sleep, and you're gonna need utility. Protection from evil and good. And from the prepared spells, and those that we can actually cast as a wizard, at the end, how you level up, you're gonna have more slots for prepared spells. You learn some, and then you prepare them. For the prepared spells, and for the level 1, it's Magic Missile, it's Protection, Evil and Good, it's Pushing Enemies, and 1 Crowd Control with Grease. This is how you cover it all. You cover damage, you cover push, you cover AoE, you cover crowd control, and buffs. At the same time as a wizard. Later on, when it's available, you're gonna add sleep and witch bolt. As far as abilities go, high intelligence and high dexterity is what you need. You don't need constitution, you can easily go like this. Even better, you can go like this. On a level, int 18 plus 4, dex, once available, 16 plus 3, Constitution, 14 plus 2 is the last one. That's the Gnome Wizard. Forest Gnome. Forest Gnome Wizard. Rock Gnome, I already said it. It can be played as a tanky fighter or a ranger with Deep Gnome. Ranger that gives Keeper of the Whale. And now, we're done with all races and with all classes. There is human left. Humans can be everything. All the builds and options that I gave apply to human. Absolutely all. And I can easily also say the same about the half-elves. Human and half-elf. It applies everything for them. Only difference between humans and half-elves are better option when you wanna play as Bard, Sorc, and a Warlock. That's the only way where half-elves are better than humans. In any other scenario, humans are better. What I would play though, for my first run, I would pick a human, and I would go with Noble History Persuasion. We need to see what this gives, but for now, let's say only this is available, I will go with History Persuasion as a human. As far as appearance go, what's a non-binary? Fuck is this? Male, female. Other. What's other? A frog. A mouse. A skateboard. What's other? Fuck is this, Larian? A whale.
Where to next?
Let's hope the locals are friendly.
Why is a female voice on a male?
Hells. Something just woke up down
I gotta get the fuck out.
It's opened. More of those wretched things.
There's magic.
Where to next?
Let's hope the locals are friendly.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so weird head options. But luckily if there are beards we can cover these weird heads. Shit. I'm picking what I would play on a full release, by the way. We go like a Ragnar Lodbrok. When he was mega old. There you go. Look more like a man now. So, no tattoos, no makeup, no that bullshit. Oops, not venture. Class. I wanna play as a paladin on a first run. Definitely I wanna play it as a paladin on a first run. And I wanna play... Now, most of the people will opt in for a healing radiance as a paladin. I would opt in for rebuke, because I wanna play aggressive. As an aggressive paladin. With rebuke, oath of devotion. Paladin. As far as skills go, I said I want history and persuasion. Athletics on a paladin is nice. Now, should it be intimidation or religion? I would say it's gonna be religion, athletics, persuasion, and history. Not intimidation as a paladin. And from the abilities, our paladin needs a high charisma, a high strength, dex to kick, wisdom, dex. 16, 14, 14, 13. How do I put this in order? And not to lose the rest? For the paladin. I would recommend to everyone else that doesn't know how to play well to go with the other subclass of a paladin with a heal, not with rebuke. That's the only difference. Like that. 15, 15, 15. Although, this is armor class. Constitution 15. On a first level, we go with strength. On a second level, we go with constitution 16 plus 3, 16 plus 3, and then it's charisma 16 plus 3, and this is how I would play paladin. That's about it, believe it or not. And now, who do you dream of? I'm dreaming of... She's a good bitch, she looks nice, it's fine. I don't have any complaints. Let's see how the game works, only and that's about it. I won't spoil it for the full release. There is no need. That looks far, far better than I remember. This is early access version 4.1.1. I'm gonna take some time to get used to the game.
Am I in the hell?
It will be a great game. It won't be nearly as complex and complicated as Wrath of the Righteous, for example. It will be a great game, but a lot of people will be also able to play this one. Not many people can play Breath of the Righteous. This one was made for a bigger audience, okay? CRPG for a bigger audience. And it doesn't worry me at all. What worries me, how it's gonna be on the hardest difficulty. That's what worries me the most. The only thing that I care about. Everything else I don't care that much.